I'm Jeff Hennig. We will now continue our coverage of the Central Ward by introducing the final 4 candidates competing to serve as the Central Ward councilperson. They are Czezre Adams, Andre Speight, Shawn McCray, and Gayle Chaneyfield Jenkins. The guidelines for tonight's forum are as follows. Each candidate has been seated in a position that was chosen earlier by lottery and will deliver a 1-minute opening statement. I will then ask a series of questions that each candidate will have 1 minute to answer. There will be a round which will allow the candidates to rebut any statements made by their opponents. I may also ask a follow-up question to which each candidate will have 30 seconds to respond. There will also be a candidate round where each of you will have the opportunity to ask a question directly to one of your opponents. You will then deliver a 1-minute closing statement. In the interest of fairness and the constraints of television programming, we will adhere to strict time limits. If at any time your answer goes beyond the allotted time, you will hear this sound. Any overtime will be subtracted from your next answer. We are ready to begin with our opening statements. First up is Czezre Adams.
Hello everyone, my name is Czezre Adams. I'm a 24-year-old college graduate and current Newark Public School educator. While I grew up on High Street, we had a sense of community that was headed by our grandmothers. From some who I would like to mention are my grandmother, Ruth Ellis, who is not only my mentor but my grandmother, Martha Bledsoe, and Mary Rome. I grew up in a single-parent home by my mother, Anjanette Ellis Harper, who instilled in me my core basic values to make me the young man I am today. Newark, this is the reality. We have a 14% unemployment rate, an education system on complete privatization, seeing high-rises that are falling apart, streets littered with potholes, and 111 murders in just 1 year. Why am I running? I'm running to change the status quo. I'm running to give our youth hope. I'm running to bring more jobs here to the city of Newark. I'm running to lend our seniors a helping hand. I'm running for you. So on May 13, 2014, go over to the end of the battle line and vote C8 for Czezre Adams, and together we will change the status quo.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. The next opening statement will be given by Andre Speight.
Hello, Central Ward residents. My name is Bishop Andre Speight. I'm a proud, lifelong resident of Newark Central Ward. I'm currently the Central Ward Democratic chairperson, a position that I have for several years now. I grew up being a part of the Central Ward Democratic Committee. I'm a pastor of the God's Members Praise and Outreach Center in the city. I'm also the founder of the Happy Hands Daycare Center, where we employ approximately 20 Newark residents. We educate on a daily basis approximately 100 babies from the ages of 2 weeks old to 13 years of age. I know what our ward needs. I live it every single day. I believe if you give me the opportunity and elect me as your Central Ward council person, with the leadership that we need and the leadership that we deserve, I think that our Central Ward will be one of the premier wards, not just in this city, but in this country. So I'm asking you to elect me, Andre Speight, C4 for Central Ward councilperson, and also Shavar Jeffries for mayor in this great city of Newark. God bless you.
Shawn McCray, your opening statement, please.
Yes, hello, residents of the Central Ward. My name is Shawn McCray. I grew up here in the city of Newark. I've been a 35-year resident of the Central Ward. I currently work at Central High School as a per diem instructor, and I'm also the head basketball coach at Central High School. Why I'm running is because I feel as though we need a sense of people to get into the community and help the issues that's going on in the community. I run my own basketball program here in the city of Newark for kids 5 to 18. The program itself has been based in the city of Newark for 16 years, and I've been helping at-risk youth in the city. And I just think that we need leaders in the community that are going to deal with community issues. I think a lot of the community issues are overlooked. So when you cast your vote on May 13th, C5, Shawn McCray, I am a community person and I am accessible to the community, and I would love to be a part of Central Ward to bring back the respect and the values that we had when I was growing up.
And thank you. And our final opening statement will be given by Gayle Chaneyfield Jenkins.
Good evening, Central Ward. My name is Gayle Chaneyfield Jenkins, and like my gentlemen friends here who are also running for the Central Ward, I'm no stranger to the city of Newark. I grew up in the city of Newark, and I am a lifelong resident of the city of Newark. I've been elected to office from 1995 to 2006, where I'm proud to say that I was part of the overwhelming development and changes that we had in the city of Newark. But Newark's been on hold for quite some time with the potential that we can unleash for our community and development, with our children, for recreation, with bringing crime down. So I want to come back to City Hall to help solve the problems with partnerships and making sure that the Central Ward is the best ward in the city of Newark. My name is Gayle Chaneyfield Jenkins, and my ballot number is C3.
Thank you. Let's begin with our questions. The first question will be directed to Andre Speight. And it's been nearly 6 decades since the Newark riots, and residents of that time can it's been nearly 6 decades since the Newark riots, and reminders of that time can clearly be seen in the number of vacant lots that remain throughout the Central Ward. What steps would you take to attract developers to your ward and begin the process of removing these eyesores?
Well, one of the things I think that's important in our ward is community partnerships. By running a nonprofit in the city of Newark, I understand that. One of the things that Central Ward residents can depend on Andre Speight administration is that we are going to be friendly to nonprofits and also small businesses, not just big developers. We had enough of big developers in our ward. I want to be the council person that's going to make sure that we are going to have small businesses that's going to come into the ward, and it's going to help us to take these lots and begin to develop them, to have a sense of community in our ward. I think it's important that each one must reach one. Our ward is a great ward. It's a ward that I love. It's a ward that needs to begin to emphasize on development and also emphasize on making sure that every resident feels safe and making sure that every resident feels secure. And one thing that we can do is begin a great and improve the Adopt a Lot program. So that's something that I'm going to stand strong and I believe in this city that we need to begin to do more of.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McCray, same question.
I grew up during the riots. 67, I was born. I was a few months old, and my mother reminded me about the riots because it actually started near Hayes Home Projects where my family grew up. So I'm constantly reminded of the vacant lots that sits on Springfield Avenue and some portions of the area in the heart of the Central Ward. What I would do, I think we need to empower the residents to become entrepreneurs and open businesses in the communities in which they live in. Our communities are being overrun by, like Mr. Speight said, we have to get back into the smaller businesses, the family-owned businesses that we used to have in the Central Ward. As when I grew up, I used to walk up and down Springfield Avenue, and there were some businesses that were still left before the riots, after the riots happened. And now a lot of those businesses are gone. But we're starting to see some development, but I think, like Mr. Speight said, we need to bring back community ownership, and we need to just take pride in our neighborhoods and bring back a sense of pride in the Central Ward.
Hey, Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins, same question for you.
Without disclosing my age, I was part of living when the riots took place. I grew up in Hayes Homes and was at the corner of Dairy Delight, that was an ice cream parlor. We had Mr. Tim's around the corner. We had certainly up and down Springfield Avenue and Prince Street, there were shopping availability for any resident. We didn't really go downtown. So I too will be spurring economic development along the corridors once again. I'm proud to say that I was part of making sure that Applebee's came and Home Depot and the movie theater, bringing in the attraction of the Black Cinema Cafe so that we can make sure that Newark residents enjoy the facilities that exist in our neighborhoods. But it is important that we have something for the small businesses. We're in the Central Ward, and there's not even a bakery there for our children. We celebrate birthdays, we have anniversaries. So I will be working to make sure that small businesses are there as well.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Mr. Adams.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of vacant lots here in the city of Newark. And I myself, even though I wasn't around when the riots happened, I am continuously reminded about these riots. One thing that we need to do is we do need to promote entrepreneurship. We need to show our residents and citizens the way of making their own businesses and keeping them flourishing. One way we can do that is we need to also promote Newark. I want to start an initiative called Newark is Open for Business. Alone in the Central Ward, we have so many great assets that are in the Central Ward. We have the Downtown Business District. We have our various universities such as Seton Hall, Rutgers, Newark, NJIT. We have a mass transit system. We have our close proximity to New York, and we need to use that to our advantage to promote Newark, not only in the country, not only in the city and the state, but around the world to bring in those businesses.
Thank you. Mr. McCray, you have the first response to this next question, which is, the city is facing a $35 million budget deficit and the threat of a state takeover of its finances. What measures would you implement with the state to lessen the burden on taxpayers if a state takeover is inevitable?
Well, I was told that there is something in place, an ordinance in place, where if you work in Newark, if you work for the city of Newark, you should live in the city of Newark. I think that takes away a lot of, that brings a problem to the taxpayers, because a lot of the people that work here, they're not actually living here. And if people bought homes here in Newark, it would bring down a lot of raising of the taxes, because the revenue would be a little different. We just need like people that work here and live here to just bring Newark back. We need to get Newark back up and running. And I'm not in agreement with the state taking over, because the state took over the public school system, and we see what's going on with the public school system. I think the state needs to let Newark run Newark, and then we generate our own, revenue to close these budget gaps, because it's a lot of money here in Newark, and we keep giving people tax abatements and different things, and it brings our budget to, we have a problem maintaining the budget. So if we just was allowed to run our own city, I think things would be a lot different.
Okay. Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins, your response.
That's where coming in as a former council person is going to be critical. I have helped budget, and I have helped pass 10 consecutive budgets that made sure that Newark had money. But I'll help negotiate with the state, because they shouldn't take over our city. But we have to ask ourselves, why do they want to take over our city? There's a lot here, as Mr. McCray alluded to. Newark was once 56th in the world economy. We have the port, we have intermodal city, and we have the talent here, plus the knowledge of how to fix our city. There are a lot of resources and asset recovery that we can do, and things that we can do to generate revenue. But we have to negotiate. That's where I come in as a bridge builder, as a person who has a partnership and who can talk to the people in Trenton, as well as the people in the community, to make sure that we keep the city of Newark in the hands of Newarkers. The state takeover of the Board of Education was a fiasco. We don't need that in our government.
Thank you. And Mr. Adams, your response.
I want to make this perfectly clear. I am totally against any type of state takeover here in the city of Newark. But what we need to understand as a city is that our expenses cannot outweigh our revenue. Also, it's a hard time for our municipal council lately to have even pass a budget on time, and that's because they're not working together. So as a council, we need to understand that we must work together to pass these budgets. How can we resolve this? We can, how about we cut waste at City Hall? How about the city council take a pay cut? Because I'm one who's not in this for the money. I'm in this because I actually love the city of Newark, and I will love my job. How about we raise taxes on liquor and cigarettes? How about we incorporate taxes on the port? How about we start raising the hotel motel tax? We can raise taxes on different things here in the city of Newark without hurting the pockets of our taxpayers, and that's what I will bring as your councilman here in the city of Newark.
Thank you. And Mr. Speight.
Well, Newarkers, decisions have to be made, and that's what distinguishes us. One of the things that we have to understand, hard decision, tough decision have to be made. I will be a vote to make those tough decisions, start with the municipal council. If it means that I have to give up one aid position or two aid positions, I will forgo that. If that means I have to give up health insurance to help to close the gap, I will do that. If that means I have to vote to cut the city clerk's budget, I will do that. We have to find good ways and good economic means to create income for the city. We have to do those things. That's what municipal government have to do. We always talk about county government, but look at the county government. They have found creative ways to bring resources to county government. The municipal council must find creative ways. I'll be one of those individuals that will work with the municipal council to find creative ways. And I won't be afraid to say in these hard economic times that I'm going to have to make a sacrifice as a municipal council person. I will sacrifice and I will cut my pay. I will sacrifice and I will cut the pay of the people that's going to work for. It's going to make and take sacrifices.
Thank you. It's time for our first candidate question round. As I mentioned, each of you will have an opportunity to question one of your opponents throughout the course of this forum. The first person who has an opportunity is Mr. Adams. If you so choose, you can direct a question to one of these three individuals.
No, I will not at this time.
Okay, so we'll move on. The next question will be directed to Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins first, and it is: the Central Ward is home to several institutions of higher learning, including Rutgers, NJIT, and Essex County College, none of which pays taxes to the city. What measures would you put in place to get these institutions to give back to the city?
Well, Jeff, the city of Newark was in the process of making sure that happened. In New Brunswick, Rutgers certainly pays monies through DevCo in order to keep the land that they have for the university. There are creative ways and proven ways of making sure that the institutions of higher learning are paying. Newark is 77% tax exempt right now, and that's because we have a lot of state and federal buildings. We have to make sure that when they build these institutions and they have revenue from the stores that are downstairs, that they have to pay. And we have to make sure that we get a fair share of monies from the state buildings as well as with the universities that can be realized through our Department of Economic Development. It's a revenue stream that has been untapped. We were in the process of tapping it, and now it's time to make it full fruition and making sure that we get our monies from these universities.
Thank you. Mr. Adams, your response.
Well, one of the things that we do know out here through the city of Newark is that we have not been big on collecting our taxes when needed to. One of the things that I propose in my legislation is actually reviewing our tax abatements. In the first 90 days, I would propose legislation that will review every tax abatement that will make sure that our taxpayers get a return on their dollars. Not only that, when we go to these universities to then tell them that we would like to start something up to maybe possibly starting collecting taxes from them, we just can't hit them with a hammer and say, now we're going to start charging you taxes. We have to some way somehow sit down at the table and incorporate new ideas on why we're going to collect these taxes. And if they do agree to that, we're going to give them certain incentives once they abide by our tax agreement.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Speight, your response?
Well, first of all, the Central Ward council person can't do it by himself. That's why it's important that we elect a mayor. We need Shawn Jeffries as mayor, and then I'm going to need council colleagues on the city council, municipal council, that are going to help me pass legislation. I'm going to need you to vote for Linda Lord. I'm going to need you to vote for Carlos Gonzalez. I'm going to need you to vote for Terrence Banks. I'm going to need you to vote for Wilfredo Carabaro, because I'm going to need help to pass legislation to make sure every university, every billion-dollar institution that has any type of business in the Central Ward, you must pay your fair share. It's going to be the ending in the Central Ward. Any developer, any institution that has our land in our ward that's not taking care of their responsibilities. So residents, you can rest assured, if you elect Bishop Speight and the entire Jeffries team, we are going to ensure that you're going to get better benefits. I can guarantee you the best is yet to come when you elect Shawn Jeffries and his entire Jeffries team May 13th.
And Mr. McCray, your response to the same question.
Well, I would propose a legislation that all universities in the city of Newark should pay taxes. I mean, they take up a lot of land in the downtown area of the city. NJIT actually is partnered with Central High School. They actually give 10 scholarships per year to any seniors that pass the AP engineering class at Central High School. Excuse me. So we do have a partnership with NJIT. I think other colleges should partnership with schools in the city of Newark, because we have a lot of children in the city of Newark who do attend college, and a lot of them don't like to leave the city. They want to stay here in Newark and go to school. I think all those universities and community colleges should give out some type of free admission to to a certain number of kids if they're not going to pay any taxes, because if they're getting away with not paying anything and our kids have to go away and so on when they go out of state, it's more because they're out of state student, and would make it stay in state, because we have Rutgers is a real good institution, Essex County College, has come a long way. And NJIT is one of the most prestigious schools in the country. Why can't they give our kids free education if they're not going to pay any taxes?
Okay, I want a 30-second response to the following question, which will be directed to Mr. Adams first. Plain and simple, do you support Superintendent Cami Anderson's One Newark plan, and explain why?
No, I don't support Cami Anderson's One Newark plan. I am the only candidate here who has not only been a student, but a current MPS employee under state control. I'm completely against Cami Anderson One Newark plan. Cami Anderson One Newark plan does not benefit the city of Newark, and it does not benefit our kids. You cannot have a plan in place that if you're closing a school in one district, they have to then cross all the way around town to go to another school. That is absolutely a horrible plan, and as I did when the students walked out, I was the only Central candidate to stand in the front line and fight for that, and I will continuously do that.
Okay, Mr. Speight, same question.
Well, I have 4 kids. 4 kids. My youngest baby is 8, oldest is 15. Unfortunately, I have 2 kids in public school, 2 in private. I won't say that I'm totally against Newark plan. I'm totally against Cami Anderson bypassing the community. As Central Ward council person, one of my first things that I'm going to do with our business, sit down with Cami Anderson and make sure that every Central Ward school, we have a meeting to make sure that she includes us. We have to have a plan. We must have a plan. Just to be totally opposed to something is something that I don't represent.
Okay, and Mr. McCray, your response to the same question.
Yes, I'm also opposed to the One Newark plan. I don't think our kids will benefit, as Czezre said, that the kids have to travel. You know, if you shut a school in the Central Ward, some of the kids have to go to school in the South Ward or the West Ward, and a lot of the kids go to the same school. Like if I have a child in the 8th grade and he has a little brother or sister in the 2nd grade, he picks them up after school and takes them home. Now, if you break the schools down, some schools go to up to 5th grade, some go to 8th. Now my children have to go to different schools, and now we have to find a way to get around to bringing these kids home safely.
Okay, and finally, Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins, your response.
Yes, I am opposed to the One Newark plan because any plan that did not have parental involvement is not a plan, and it's not for One Newark. Ms. Anderson's, the vision of this community is, to say the least, horrific. It is a plan that does not include community participation, and it does not take in consideration the community. So by her being an outsider, she felt comfortable trying to be divisive.
Okay. Candidate question round number 2. Mr. Speight, you can ask a question of either of these 3 individuals if you so choose.
Well, I don't have a question. I think these are some great individuals, so I really don't have a question to direct to any of them.
Okay, we will move on. Mr. Speight, this first question is directed to you. 111 murders took place in Newark in 2013. What steps would you take to reduce the incidence of violence from occurring in the city and in your ward specifically?
Great question. One of the things that I wanted to do, is create what I call the Central Ward Neighborhood Development Association, which would be a community policing program, and in conjunction with what I call Crime Anonymous. Crime Anonymous is a program similar to Alcoholic Anonymous. First of all, I think criminals have to understand and realize they're criminals first. So I wanted to start doing what I call community policing. Community policing is similar to what Society Hill may have and what Hyde Park Gardens may have. One thing it would do would continue to make our community safer. 2, it would also create jobs. Of course, if something happened in the community, you call 911 first, and you would call us. I want us to begin to build. Back in the day when I first got involved in politics under Mr. Wallace, we were concerned about each other. So I want to create an institution that will train residents to be responsible to manage and control and patrol the Central Ward. So when something happens in the Central Ward, you call us, we'll come out. We'll build an institution to make sure every Central Ward resident will feel safe in the Central Ward moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McCray, same question for you.
Okay, part of the problem with the 111 murders that occurred last year, the laying off of the police officers. There's no more community policing. You don't see too many police officers walking the community, which I think we need. The cut of recreation it's like when you slice the budget, the first thing you cut is recreation, and a lot of our kids need recreation to be engaged and to get some form of discipline that they may not be getting at home. We need to create more jobs. And one of the things I would do, because I'm in the community a lot and I speak to a lot of people that's in the community, a lot of the guys that's out there, they don't really want to be out there, but they believe they have no other avenue to choose because no one is pointing them in the right direction. So that's where I would come in, is going into the community and solicit, like, what do you want to do? Like, what is your skills? And we have to build some type of programs for the people that don't have any work or dropped out of school. We have to do something to develop for these people that we consider criminals, but they're human beings at the end of the day.
Okay, and finally, Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins.
Community policing is important, and we do have to increase the 167 police officers that were laid off, in addition to the 300 that have retired through attrition. We have to make sure that there is a central ward, geographically located headquarters for our police department. We have to make sure that we have community policing. We have to make sure that we have job training programs so that our youth as well as adults who are coming home or who are home have ability to get trained in programs, but that make sure that those jobs truly exist. So we have to make sure that we have job development for the industry that we need to create, and that's already here. We have Port Newark, and there are jobs down there that can be created with the institutions. It goes back to everything being tied back in, creating the relationships, building the bridges, making sure that we have holistic approaches to solving the problems with crime, making sure recreation is existing throughout the community.
Yeah, I apologize. I should have said finally, because Mr. Adams, you still need to answer that question.
Efforts to reduce crime and increase public safety will be one of my top priorities as elected as your councilman. It's unfortunate, but it's a reality that Newark last year alone did have 111 murders, most of those being our youth, part of my generation, who was supposed to be our future leaders. One thing that we need to do is that Central Ward is a large functioning ward, and we do not have a police precinct here in the Central Ward. We need to take steps of bringing one to here to the Central Ward. Not only that, I would create an interagency task force. What that is we're going to be headed by our Newark Police Department. We're going to bring together our university police, our state troopers, our state police officers, and other community local police departments. And together, we're going to fight this murder rate here in the city of Newark. But not only that, I'm going to start a citizens advisory board. What that is going to help our police department to point out the areas here in the Central Ward where the most crime is being occurred, so our police department can actually go there and actually fight those specific areas harder than any other area in the Central Ward. So people need to understand, not only is it a ward situation, but it's a city situation, and it's a state situation. Together, we need to fight this battle together.
Okay. Mr. McCray, you can ask a question of one of your opponents if you so choose.
No, I'll pass at this time. I think next time maybe if you open it up to all three candidates that I can ask a question to, I don't think it's fair to go at one person.
Well, you have the next question, as it just so happens anyway. So you will answer my question. What strategies would you put in place to increase contracts for women and minority-owned businesses?
What strategies I would put in place? Well, I mean, I think everyone is equal. I think everyone should be equal. So the strategy to put in place would be make sure that everything is even across the board for any business owner here in the city of Newark. I don't think anyone should be discriminated against just because of their gender or their age or color. I just think the policy should be in place for everybody to benefit from it. I don't think if the policies are not in place for everyone, then they should be. I don't think it should be a balance of who gets more and who gets less. I think everyone, if you qualify for whatever's out there, it should be given to each and everyone equally.
Okay, Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins, your response?
Unfortunately, being the only woman on this race, I am aware of, unfortunately, that women are underpaid 67% more than any male in the state or the country, and unfortunately the Supreme Court just upheld that. We have to make sure that there are women-owned businesses, because we have to make sure women will be able to encourage and nurture and bring other businesses to fruition. A lot of the businesses that closed recently in the Central Ward, whether it was Miss Stewart's, whether it was Jay's, were started by female entrepreneurs. Yes, we want to make sure that all entrepreneurs are given an opportunity, but ladies, let's face it, we know that we get the short end of the stick when it comes to that type of development, that type of entrepreneurship. We don't have the track record, and the banks will normally give to a male before they give to a female. And technically, we are the most underpaid persons in the country, unfortunately, because of the United States Supreme Court upholding that ruling.
Okay. Mr. Adams?
Being raised in a single-parent home, it is unfortunate that women are being paid less than men. I don't think it's just a women issue. I think it's an issue throughout the city of Newark, where the city of Newark is always underpaid no matter where they work. It's something in the city of Newark called affirmative action. We need to enforce that. It helps residents here in the city of Newark. We guide them in helping them become entrepreneurs. Not only that, when we bring various jobs here to the city of Newark, what we need to do is, and I'm going to tell you as your councilman, that anybody who wants to bring business here to the city of Newark, they have to have a job training programs inside that legislation if they want me to approve it. But I am, it really is saddening that women are underpaid.
Okay, and Mr. Speight, your response.
Well, not only will I enforce it, I will legislate it. My wife is a small business owner. One of the things that I'm doing now, I already have attorneys on my staff. We would advocate. Matter of fact, any women that's looking today, you're looking to do a business Central Ward, we get ready, get your business plan ready. If you don't have it together, we're going to have resources. We're going to have community seminars. I'm going to be the council person that's going to make sure that we create small businesses. I told you earlier, the Central Ward is going to be the economic boom. The Central Ward is going to create more small businesses, not just in Newark, but in the United States of America. I'm going to advocate for that. I'm going to be that council person for small businesses, for women. You can rest assured that I'm going to make sure of that. So make sure that you vote Bishop Andre Speight C4 on May 13th.
Okay, let's see if the fourth time is a charm. Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins, would you like to ask a question to one of your opponents? And if so, direct it to whomever.
Well, I just would like to say that we were in the green room talking, and one of the things that they answered my question. I asked, could we work together after this election on May 13th takes place? And everyone here is committed to doing so. And that's what we're looking forward to doing.
Okay, so we'll move on. The next question will be addressed to Mr. Speight. How can the city better address the needs of those people suffering from mental illnesses, homelessness, or disabilities?
Well, that's something that has always been dear to me. One of the organizations that I founded, and that's very dear to me, is called Feed Newark Now. It's something that I'm concerned about, something I'm compassionate about, something I do every single day. I believe in feeding people. Mental health is something that's very deeply to me. I believe that a lot of these people that's doing a lot of stuff is not because they wake up and say, I want to hurt somebody. They don't wake up and say, I want to kill someone. It's a mental illness. So one of the things I want to do, we need a mental health center in the Central Ward. We need a community food bank in the Central Ward. These are some of the things that we need in the Central Ward. I think I told you earlier, I want to do the Central Ward Neighborhood Improvement Development Association. I want to do the Central Ward Mental Health Center right in the Central Ward. So these are some of the things that I'm concerned about. These are some of the things that we need. These are some of the things that you can look forward to if you elect me. And that's why it's important, once again, we must elect a mayor. I'm going to keep on telling you, it's time for us to wake up. We have to move forward. We need someone that understands Shavar Jeffries. He's part of the city. We need you to wake up and elect Andre Speight and Shavar Jeffries to help move the city forward.
Hey, Mr. McCray, your response.
Yeah, Essex County, mental health is a very serious issue. I actually worked for Essex County Mental Health for 8 years. I was a case manager for adults with mental illness, and my job was to, once they was released from the hospital, to link them to different services, maybe Social Security, welfare. Some of them needed housing, some of them had no food, different places that offer furniture. So a lot of them lived at home with their parents, but they were secluded in their own little rooms, and it put a lot of stress on the family members in the house who had to always call 911 when the mental health patient acted out, and they had to put them in the psychiatric ward. I think it's really needed. I think it's overlooked as far as like mental illness, because it's a lot of people walking around the city, and today I still see some of my former clients who are out walking around and not taking their meds, and the medication plays a serious piece for a lot of them. Some of them, they wean off the medication as it goes, but I think the mental health issue really needs to be attacked because a lot of our youth suffer some mental illnesses that need to be addressed.
Thank you. Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins, your response.
That's where creating a partnership and relationship with not only the hospitals that exist in the city of Newark that are located in the Central Ward, but certainly with the universities to address the issue of mental health. We have a mental health facility through UMDMJ Rutgers. We have to coordinate the services. We have to also work together with those nonprofits that are currently doing those things and bringing the county and state and federal legislators together to address the issue of homelessness. When we have these abandoned lots or we have these schools that are no longer being facilitated, maybe we can create space and living space that will allow the homeless to not be without a home and retrofit the apartment buildings that we have that are abandoned. We have to make sure that we have a coordinated effort. We have to work with the colleges, the hospitals, the clergy. And we also have to work with those people who are in the medical field that understand the homeless and the psychiatric help.
Thank you. And Mr. Adams, your response.
Homelessness here in the city of Newark is not just a Central Ward problem, it's a Newark problem. What we have to do is we have a lot of vacant lots in schools that are closing. We can use those to build homeless shelters. Let's put these people inside places to give them hope so they don't have to worry about the next day where they're going to sleep. Not only that, inside of these homeless shelters that we should build, how about we have a school in there? We need to educate these people as well, not just feed them and house them, but we also need to educate them so then in the future they can then look for a job. Also, we need to build partnerships with UMDMJ and the various universities here in the Central Ward because they have a lot of services that a lot of our residents do not know about. So we need to educate our residents on these different services and build a partnership with these different universities in UMDMJ and get these residents the necessary help that they need.
Okay. You've all heard a lot of responses from your opponents. You've all made a lot of statements to my questions, responses to my questions. It's time for rebuttals. Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins, if there's anything that you've heard that you want to rebut, you can do so now.
The only thing I would like to say is that we talk about collaboration, we talk about partnerships, and we talk about legislate. There comes a price tag with that, and there also comes knowing where those dollars are and how to access those resources. I've had the experience in doing so, but also have the knowledge going forward in the future of the big government is no longer in existence and the federal dollars have shrunk. So I know how to go to the banks. I know how to go to the Wall Street hedge fund and make sure that when they bring money into the city, it's not to finance a candidate, but it's to make sure they don't take over our schools. It's to make sure that if they're doing business in the city of Newark, that they are giving back. When we talk about tax abatements are not the scourge that people try to make them out to be. The issue is that we have to look at new revenues and have revenues that we have not done in the past, like making sure we do things that will help bring finances to the city of Newark.
Okay, Mr. Adams, anything that you've heard that you'd like to rebut?
As you know, people said that I'm not old enough, I don't have the experience to lead our city. But if I'm old enough to fight in a war, if I'm old enough for people to bring me out to vote, then why am I not old enough to run the city? People need to understand that what is it that my candidates can do that I can't do at the age of 24? I can do the same that they can do. One thing walking around in the city of Newark, a lot of people do want change. They do want something new. They do want something young and fresh. And I can bring that as your Central Ward councilman. I can bring an influx of new ideas that will actually bring results. I will fight for our educational system because, like I said previously, I am the only candidate who was a student and now a current employee under the Newark Public School System under state control. I will fight for our jobs. I will make sure that any legislation or tax abatement that I sign, I will make sure that there is a jobs training program so people cannot no longer use the excuse that our residents are no longer educated or have the training to do the job. And I will ensure that our seniors have all senior high rises are renovated. Walking through the senior high rises, they are filled with litter bugs, bed bugs, and rodents. As your councilman, I will change that and ensure that these changes will come.
Okay, Mr. Speight, anything you've heard you want to rebut?
Well, just that I also graduated from North Public Schools. I went to Newton Street School. I also graduated from Central High School, so I went to Newark schools. One of the things that you're going to remember about Andre Speight is that I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to create jobs. I'm going to build institutions. That's what our ward is missing. And, you know, we're missing institutions. Institutions, they do several things. Institutions build jobs. Institutions provide services. And that's what's missing in our ward. There's no large nonprofit in the Central Ward outside of New Community. They provide housing, but we need daycare centers. We need to take a look at a Newark Municipal Credit Union. We need economics in our ward. That's what's missing in our ward. So you're going to remember this today when you look at this. Andre Speight is going to be remembered creating jobs in the ward. Andre Speight is going to be remembered building institutions that's going to create these jobs that our residents need in the Central Ward. Mark my word.
And Mr. McCray, anything that you've heard that you want to rebut?
Just like Czezre said, people question his age. He's only 24. At 16, I was coaching my own basketball, running my own basketball team. So, I mean, age doesn't matter. It's if you can handle the job. And I hear that he's only a coach. All he does is coach kids, which I don't think people understand what coaching entails as far as discipline and just organizing. I also run leagues here in the city of Newark. And I have to reach out to different people like sponsorships. I have to write not so much legislation, but we have bylaws with our program. And, it's just a lot of different things. I link kids to colleges. I link kids to different jobs that may be out there, that kids that don't go to college. And it's just that it's a misconception of people. If you can do the job, you can do the job. I'm a community person. I'm always in the community. I talk to a lot of different people. I don't discriminate against anyone. And I hear a lot of stuff going on in the community that needs to be addressed. And I believe that electing me as a Central Ward councilman, I can address the community needs.
Okay. I would like a 30-second response to this question. Who do you support for mayor and why? Mr. Adams.
I had the luxury of talking extensively with Raz Baraka and Shawn Jeffries throughout this municipal election. They both bring about great ideas to move the city of Newark forward. The job is for the people to elect their mayor, and being elected as your Central Ward councilman, when you do push C8, it is my job to then work with them to move not only the Central Ward forward, but the city of Newark forward.
Okay, Mr. Speight.
Just like everyone else, I had the opportunity to speak to Councilman Baraka and Shawn Jeffries. Without a question, the best candidate in this race is undoubtedly Shawn Jeffries. I believe in his candidacy. I believe what he brings to the table to offer for our residents. There's not a better person, Newarkers, that can help to move this city forward than Shawn Jeffries. Not only Shawn, remember, he can't do it by himself. He needs you to help him. Wilfredo, Caballero, Councilman Gonzalez, you have Linda Lloyd, and who am I referring? It's four at large that's running.
Okay, Mr. McCray, who do you support for mayor and why?
Well, I've had the luxury of actually working with Raz Baraka, being that he was the principal at Central High School, and I was there before he came to Central, before we moved in the new building, and I've seen him out in the community the past 20 years, and I've seen the transformation that he's done for Central High School and a lot of the kids that attended Central High School, and I'm supportive of Raz Baraka. I have no problem saying that. And, I just think I'm a community person, he's community, and I think we will work well together.
And Ms. Chaneyfield Jenkins.
I'm going to use my 30 seconds to say that Raz Baraka is the best candidate for mayor, and I am definitely supporting Raz Baraka. I am on the Baraka team, and my number is C3. And as Mr. McCray said, Mr. Baraka is from the community, and he has great ideas, and working together to make sure he put together a constructive team that will work together for the betterment of the city of Newark, and make sure that you vote for the best mayor, Raz Baraka.
And you can all take a deep breath. We're done with questions. Time for your closing statements. The first closing statement will be given by Czezre Adams.
Newark, on May 13, 2014, you have a chance to make a bold decision. When you go to the polls all the way at the end, and push C8 for Czezre Adams as your new Central Ward councilman. Newark, we're in need of a new direction and a change in the status quo. We have elected leaders in the past who were supposed to lead us, the people, but instead conducting themselves in an irresponsible and immature manner that has caused the destruction of this great city. Let's face it, we have a 14% unemployment rate, education system on complete privatization, on the verge of complete privatization, senior high rises that needs renovation, potholes, a street filled with potholes, and 111 murders in 1 year. Newark, it is time for young leaders like myself to step up to the plate. It is time for a new alternative. It is time to bring about new ideas that brings results. It is time to improve the quality of life for Newarkers. And when you go to the poll, ask yourself, have my quality of life changed in the past 4 years, 8 years, 12 years, or even 16 years? And if your answer is no, then vote C8 for Czezre Adams, and together we will change the status quo.
Okay, our closing statement will next be given by Speight.
Newarkers, hear me well when I tell you this. Newark, there's a very, very important election in a matter of a few weeks. May 13th, we have to make a clear decision. We must move this city forward. The Bible speaks, it's not by might nor by power, but it's by spirit. As a matter of God, I don't believe that we serve a God up in heaven sitting back, scratching his head what's going to take place on May 13th. I believe each and every one of us have a responsibility to go and elect the people that we believe is going to serve us best. I believe that we have a responsibility to do some soul searching, a responsibility to elect leadership that's going to move this city forward. It's without a doubt in my mind, in my heart, in my spirit that Shawn Jeffries is the right man for the job. It's without a doubt that I'm the best person for the job for the Central Ward. I forgot to mention Terrence Bankston in the North Ward, and Nebo Ramos in the South Ward, Brian Logan in the West Ward, Kevin Waters. Please pray, consider, discern. The best team, without a doubt, is Team Jeffries. God bless you.
Okay, our third closing statement will be given by Gayle, Chaneyfield, Jenkins.
Newark, you do have an important decision to make on May 13th. As you have in the past, and going forward, this is the most critical one. My name is Gayle Chaneyfield Jenkins, and I am on the Team Baraka. But I have a history here in Newark, as many of you. My family, my father, Joe and Martha Chaneyfield, they started New Community. They started Babyland. So I know about giving back to the community and creating institutions that will remain long after I'm gone. I had a hand in doing IHOP, the Applebee's, making sure that there was job creation, and I'm proud of that. The Newark Downtown District, the 8,000 units of housing we put in the Central Ward and throughout the city of Newark. I know about job creation. I know about bringing down crime. I am concerned about the residents and making sure that job training exists. I have the experience, and it's not keeping the status quo, but it's making sure you have somebody who understands how to hit the ground running. We're facing some serious problems, and we have to make sure that we address them immediately.
Okay, Shawn McCray, our final closing statement.
Yeah, Central Ward, I just want you to just sit back and think about what the Central Ward needs. I think you should elect a new face on the city council, but an old face in the community. Because I've been in the community almost 30 years, working with families and children. I've sent numerous kids to college, and a lot of those guys have come back now, and they're doing productive things in the city of Newark. I just think we need someone who can bridge the gap between the community and City Hall. I believe that City Hall, once people are elected in City Hall, they forget about the people. And as a council person, you're elected by the people, so you should serve the people. And I think that's where I come in at. I mean, as far as being in City Hall, I'm very accessible right now in the community, and I have no problem coming to anyone with any problems to address the situations that may be going on in their communities. And I just believe that we need to bring more programs and jobs back to the city of Newark so our residents can have hope. Because a lot of residents that I talk to in the community are losing hope. So I just want to bring the hope back to the Central Ward.
Okay, that brings to a close our Central Ward Forum. I want to thank each of you for participating in this important event today and wish you the best of luck on Election Day. Thank you for being here. And thank you for watching this special edition of Cablevision's Meet the Leaders. Now that you have met the candidates, it's up to you. Election Day is Tuesday, May 13th. where you will have the opportunity to vote for your ward council person, 4 at-large council people, as well as the mayor. Please exercise your right and privilege to voice your opinion on that day. And don't forget to tune in to our coverage of election returns that evening, starting at 8:30 p.m. For all of us here at Cablevision, I am Jeff Hennig. Thank you so much for watching.